of culture, we owe very much to Byzantine Empire, because Christianity came to Russia from Byzantine Empire. The first architects, the first icon painters came to Russia from there. The first icon, which is known in Russian history as the Vladimir icon, it got the name of Vladimir icon of the Blessed Virgin, was brought to Russia from Constantinople. But in 1453, Constantinople was defeated by Turks. And as I have already said, the center of Orthodox Creed, the Turks started to convert churches there into mosques. Saint Sophia Cathedral was turned into a mosque, as well as others. And the center of Orthodox Creed shifted to Moscow. And at that time, there appeared the theory here, the theory of the Third Rome. They said there had been two Romes in the past. They meant proper Rome and Constantinople, which was referred to as the Second Rome. And they said about Moscow, the Third Rome is standing and flourishing, and the fourth is never to be. The people who come from the West, they often asked questions. Why there are so many churches in the Kremlin? This is the answer to this question, because after 1453, Moscow became the Third Rome, the center of Orthodox Creed. And the Kremlin became not only the residence of the Tsars, but it also became the residence of metropolitans and patriarchs. The Russian people who of our group know the difference between metropolitan and patriarch, but for the rest part of the group I have to explain. First, the head of the Russian Church, when Russian Church was dependent on Constantinople Church, on the Church of Constantinople, on the Church of Byzantine Empire, the head of the church had the title of metropolitan. And later, when it became independent, he got the title of patriarch. Today it's Patriarch Pimen. He is patriarch, and just a minute. This year, I think, yes, this year, the Russian Orthodox Church will celebrate 500 years of establishing patriarchate in Russia. So, at that time, in the 15th century, construction work on a large scale was launched in the Kremlin. And it was at that time in 1479 that they built the Cathedral of the Assumption. It's a cathedral with large domes covered with gold leaf. From here, when you look at the cathedrals from here, you have the impression that it's one cathedral, they are close together, but one with large domes, it's Assumption Cathedral, or the Cathedral of the Dome Mission of the Blessed Virgin, Uspensky Собор in Russian. And next to it, to the left of it, the cathedral with smaller domes is known as Annunciation Cathedral. So the Assumption Cathedral was built as the main cathedral of the Russian state. The Tsars were baptized and crowned here, and metropolitans and patriarchs were buried there. 10 years later, Annunciation Cathedral was built, one with smaller domes. It was built as the home church of the Tsars. Then at the beginning of the 16th century, the Cathedral of the Archangel Michael was built. It's a cathedral with great domes. It's a 5-dome cathedral, one large dome covered with gold leaf, and 4 more around it are painted gray. So this is the, can you see it?
Yes.
Yes. This is the Cathedral of the Archangel Michael. It's here that all the Tsars and Grand Princes, up to the time of Peter I, are buried here in this cathedral. And Peter I, in 1713, moved the capital from Moscow to St. Petersburg. And the Tsars, to be exact, the emperors, because Russia was proclaimed an empire under Peter I. And the emperors were built after that in St. Petersburg. Next to the Cathedral of the Archangel Michael, there is a high structure, which is a bell tower built in 1700s. It's called the Bell Tower of Ivan the Great. This is just a conventional name because there were several Tsars in Russia whose name was Ivan. As for the wall, it goes all around. The area of the Kremlin is 70 acres, and the length of the wall is almost 2 kilometers. There are 20 towers in the wall, 20, and 5 of them have 5-point stars at the top. The stars were put up at the top of those towers in 1937, when we marked this 20th anniversary of the October Revolution. And before the revolution, there were double-headed eagles at the top of the towers. And that white and yellow building under a green roof is the Grand Kremlin Palace. It was this part was built in the middle of the last century for the Tsars who lived at that time in St. Petersburg, but who came to Moscow for coronation. And when they were crowned in the Assumption Cathedral, they stayed in this building when they came. And today the Grand Kremlin Palace houses the Supreme Soviet. But now, I'm sure you heard about the changes which are taking place in our country now, political changes. And before the Supreme Soviet stayed here. I mean, sessions were convened. But before this year, the Supreme Soviet met only twice a year. And now at the Congress, which is taking place now in the country, they are electing now the Supreme Soviet, which will be like your Congress or the parliament in other countries, which will be a permanently functioning body. And I do not know where it will have seats, either here or at another building in the Kremlin. It hasn't been announced yet. Do you have questions? Okay, then let's get off and take pictures.
Yeah. We're gonna ask. Well, when the meetings are open, do they open up the square, you think?
Monday.
Tonight?
It might be, but I'm not sure. Now they have this.
Or is it till 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock?
Yesterday it was till 11 o'clock.
At night?
Yes, but yesterday there was some disagreement here about the election to the Supreme Soviet, and so they finally voted. Comrade Gorbachev made 2 suggestions, and they voted, and then they counted the votes.
Right. We heard that this morning over the radio.
Yes.
How many for and how many against for each candidate?
They should have not like you were saying. Nobody works on Saturday.
Down from $400 to $15.
He's got a snake ball.
Well, I'll tell you. I look at it.
Are we going to see Gordon Park? Isn't that here too? Yeah. They're here. I don't know. Here.
Mike and Debbie and them today from Chicago.
Maybe this.
We should find out where we're
Pretty fast one now. That one, yeah, the other that's what she said.
That's pretty cheap. You can what? 30 bucks to take a ride? Oh, yeah?
And it was built in the 16th century. You have a good view of the Red Square from here. That grey building with towers, it's a department store called Goon. And when we have popular manifestations on the Red Square and parades, people in columns march from that end in these vehicles. That building with turrets, it's a history museum. A number of churches are here on this street on the right hand side, and Russia Hotel. The Church of St. Barbara of the
Now you see it,
Orange
now you
Color.
don't.
The Cathedral of the Epiphany. tomorrow we shall write here on that square.